Super.
Hi, everyone. We're with Mathieu Moret and Sylvain Lapoix from Datactivist. They will show us and make a demonstration of Aleph, the crawler that they have developed for EDJNet. So with no further ado, I will leave the floor to Sylvain for the presentation.
Thank you, Gianpaolo. So we developed not the whole crawler itself. We used an existing stack, a technical stack, meaning several layers of program up on each other that allows us to crawl documents from website, to index them, to make them accessible through an interface that looks like a search engine, and to organize them in order to be usable in an investigation and in the way that journalists may need it for their own research. We didn't build it from scratch. We used an existing stack that was developed by OCCRP, so Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. That's some of you may know for its great investigation, mainly in Central and Eastern Europe. And eventually OCCRP set up the OCCRP Aleph stack in order to be able to store and index all the data, all the files that were brought by several organizations, and also some public databases that were available. You have here the full Aleph OCCRP search engine. So you have many data sets, and for example, if you look at the sources, you have the US Treasury Public FTP server, the Kosovo Business Registration Agency, etc., etc. And all of those data sets can be linked and intertwined and compared to the data sets that we are bringing ourselves into our Aleph's case. We decided to focus on a very specific website. I will now share my screen so that you can see this. So we're on. So our target, so to speak, is the competition website from the European Commission. So it's the website from the DG competition, which is in charge of all regulation regarding trusts, cartels, mergers, and state aid at this, the scope of the whole EU. So we have a lot of different companies, a lot of different cases, a lot of different countries involved in the several sectors. And so it should be a trove of topics, of information, of intel, and of relationships with companies and histories, and eventually of stories to pull out for well-informed and well-trained journalists. Unfortunately, the search engine from the competition website is a pure mess, and I will demonstrate it right away. So you can actually look at the cases that were investigated and under scrutiny in this example here. And as you see, we have here the news. So the last cases that were studied. Here is the cartels. We can look at the antitrust also. And we have here an interesting thing. It's the list of the cases that were studied or under scrutiny by the DG competition. So there should be a very large amount of information, a lot of documents, PDFs, decisions, and also eventually some rulings about those cases. If I open it, I have here many information, but as you can see, it's not very well structured. We have stuff going here and there. You have here a PDF, the date it was published. You have multilingual versions of the press releases. But eventually, this contains a lot of information on the case itself, in text, but still. If I want to find out this very case about Capcom and video game industry, I should be able to do so with the competition website itself and its search engine. Unfortunately, the cases are really badly indexed inside the website. So for example, if I type here the company name, Capcom, and search it, so I'm searching it here, all the cases, all case numbers, all years, all time. So any decision regarding Capcom should be stored and available through this website. So I only have one decision, so it's a bad example, as we say in technical terms. But if I look at the economic activity, I can find more cases. So here I found, good one, Koch Media. So this one should be an interesting one. If I look at the search engine again, I can look up this name of company, and I still have one case. Je suis désolé, ça, je tombe sur des mauvais exemples en série.
Off we go.
So if we look at a very specific case, for example, here we have several companies in the petroleum industry, so very well-known ones like Avia, Gulf, Chevron, Texaco, Mobil, Total, FINA, BP, and Shell. You see here that we have only one published document. It's a procedural finds decision. It contains lots of information about those actors and the reason why they're under scrutiny by the DG competition. Although you can see here that we have some links between decisions and that we should be able to look up other decisions regarding those specific companies. Unfortunately, the indexation is very bad. So you can see here I have indexed Avia, but I also have indexed international. And it doesn't mean it indexes Avia international. It means that it indexes every decision regarding Avia, but also every decision mentioning international in the title. So I have in the same batch, in the same basket, Visa International, YATA cargo tariff consultation, any kind of company, any kind of decision that mentions international. Another problem here is that although I have many cases I can relate to, the cases only contain terms and names that are inside the title of the decision itself. For example, if any other company than the ones that are mentioned here would be named inside the document, inside the procedural finds decision, it wouldn't allow us to find the decision by the name of this company. If it's not in the title, it doesn't exist from the point of view of the search engine. So it doesn't allow us to look up every decision regarding a company. It doesn't allow us to look up for names of people involved with the decision because the names of the people are never in the title. It doesn't allow us to look up at the amount of money, the laws that are brought up, etc., etc. So that's the reason why, with Mathieu, we thought it was a relevant case, a relevant target for our technical stack. So Aleph is here consisting of two elements we put together and connected. On the one side, we have the crawlers that are brought by Memorius, and that will allow us to actually go through every single case and look at all the decision, all the links contained in them in order to crawl and scan the site itself. Then the results, all the documents, all the informations are piped to Aleph, Aleph itself, Aleph, which is an indexation framework. So the program that will look at the document themselves and put them in a directory where we will be able to find the connection through the terms that are used inside the title, but also inside the text itself, including when the text is contained into a PDF file. So with no further ado, I will eventually launch Aleph here. So what I'm doing here is that I'm just launching the user interface so that Aleph will be visible as a website on my machine. So for now, we only use Aleph locally, but it will be deployed directly on the server of EDJNet as soon as we will have a stable version locally. So you have here the interface with several parts in it. You have the datasets, the investigations, and some extra information. The two parts we will be interested in here are the investigations and the datasets. So first, the investigations. So now Aleph is launched on one side, but for the moment it's empty. We don't have any information available, any datasets. So we have two parts in the Aleph user interface. You have the datasets. That's where, as admins, we will put the data. That's where we will point out for Memorius to store the data we will crawl from the website. And on the other hand, we have an interface called investigations, where we can create an environment where we can use the docs, eventually pull out the datasets, even upload some documents from local servers, and eventually connect them, find common endpoints and entities across several types of documents in order to pull them up together and help us to investigate specific cases, specific companies, and specific events. So now what I will do is I will launch the other end of the setup, which is Memorius. And so Memorius will give me a small interface. So it's just here. And what I can do is I can activate what we call the crawlers. So we have here a crawler that is dedicated to only one specific type of page. It's only for competition one pages, meaning it's category one. Category one is antitrusts and cartels. So it was designed in order to target only the links that contain cartel and antitrust cases. Then it was designed in several steps operation. So that's what we call a pipeline. The first part is we build up the URL we are looking up. Then we ask him to get the URL. Then we clean the URL, putting out everything we don't need. And we ask Memorius to follow all the relevant links we have listed below. So the links to new cases, the links to other categories, and any document. And in the end, we store the results into Aleph. And in this case, that's it. We store the results into Aleph itself. So all I have to do now is look up what I have installed. So Memorius lists. I have three crawlers in place. And I will ask Memorius to go and activate the competition 110K crawler that is designed to retrieve as many cases for cartels and antitrust cases as possible. So as you can see here, it starts to go through every step of the operation, creating some new data that will be uploaded to Aleph in the dataset section. So as you can see here, there's a new collection that was created. And for the moment, it contains 0 documents, but it's running. What's going on is that the documents are sent to Aleph, and Aleph analyzes every single document in order to retrieve all the data it can. It will identify company names, it will identify phone numbers, it will identify IBAN for bank coordinates, the name of places, the name of institutions, of planes, and many, many more. And all those named entities, as we name them, will allow us to connect documents across the data sets. and also to connect them to other data sets containing the same type of documents. So it should be updating in no time. Mathieu, you confirm it's running? So to give you an idea of the amount of document we can retrieve with this, by running the crawler we are now using, we've been able to retrieve 1,000 documents an hour, between 1,000 and 2,000 documents an hour, including large PDFs, several pages PDFs, several pages for press releases in HTML and in PDF too. And all those pages were read seamlessly, meaning HTML or PDF, the content was retrieved, scrapped, and analyzed in order to be able to identify name of peoples, name of companies, name of places, phone numbers, emails, etc., etc. There you go. So as you can see here, we have already 50 documents. So those are the names that were made available by the website. So usually it's the name of the HTML page. You have here the title, it's an HTML page. You have the author of the document, etc., etc., the date it was published, the date it was retrieved, eventually the link to the document itself. So it's regarding MasterCard's intra-EEA multilateral interchange fees. And you have mentions of entities. So here, this entity is not decoded plainly, but if we look up at the other entities that were identified, we see that visa.eu is mentioned in 3 documents, American Express in 3 documents also, MasterCard Incorporated. So you see it's going around in the same economical sector. So that means that it should have followed the link through several decisions that were made, and it's connecting related decisions, bouncing over and over on each decision to the next. So if we look at these documents, no view available, but you see here we have 22 mentions with many other companies, with names of people, with name of places, and also with, so you have also bugs here. But one of the good news, and that's one of the improvements we will make, is that we can eventually pipe in some named entities. So if you have the entities that are named and identify the documents, that's one way of bringing the documents that are intertwined together. But we can also pipe in some lists of named documents, of named entities, in order to improve this indexation. The next step for us will be to enlarge the capacity of the crawlers by creating other crawlers regarding the mergers, the state aid, etc., etc., and exploit and improve the quality of the data we retrieved in order to give us the tools to make overviews, visual overviews, statistical overviews, and to be able to pinpoint and pin down some specific cases, some specific relations to all of those documents, and through to other collection brought by the datasets that are made available by OCCRP and other organizations. So if you see any other website that you think is relevant and that you think that should be interesting to crawl, and that doesn't have already a good search engine, we can try and look at what is possible with Aleph. So far, every website we targeted, we were able to scrap. So please let us know what interests you, and we will give it a try.
Okay, thanks a lot, Sylvain. It's really impressive, and I really look forward to try to use it, although I think I might need your help at some point. So thanks to both for this presentation. I hope that I hope that our public has enjoyed it, and I look forward to new investigations along with it. I really think it has a lot of potential. It's only a matter of time and getting used to it. So thanks again. Talk soon, and see you around on EDJNet. Bye bye.
Thank you, Gianpaolo.